All right, this video is going to go over shape number 3. So we've got this shape right here that we're going to work on. This is going to be our introduction to holes in Fusion 360. We'll get some more with holes here. So going to do this one just a little bit differently, kind of show you how we add pieces to it. And so we're going to do an additive piece of it. And so what I'm going to do is start with this bottom block, which is going to, remember, it's half an inch. So it's going to be 1 inch. And I'm going to do this 1 inch by half an inch. And then it's going to go back 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4 inches. So we'll go back 4 inches. So I'm going to make this first block, which is going to be 1 by 5 by 4. So let's go into Fusion. Again, we're in our Learn 360 basic parts. If we go home, I'm in my Learn 360 basic parts. I'm going to create a new component. So I'm going to go ahead right here. I'm going to save this file. I'm going to save this. We're going to call this part 3. I hit save for it. In version 0 of it, I'm going to create my part, and I'm going to my component, if you will. And I'm going to call this part 3, and I'm going to hit OK for it. All right, and so I'm going to add my sketch. I'm going to start on the. Let's start on the. We'll start on the bottom because we're going to build up. So we're going to start right here on the. Actually, no. Let's escape out of that. Let's go here. We're going to start a sketch. We're going to rotate this. We'll do this on the front. Yeah, like we have been. So we'll do this on our front like we have been. So I'm going to add in my rectangle here. Let's add in my rectangle. I'm starting right here. This rectangle is going to be, we're going to make this the height of it is going to be half an inch, so 0.5. The length of it is going to be 4. There it is. Okay, and so then we're going to hit OK. So we're going to finish that. So if I go to my home, there's my rectangle here. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude this out. So I'm going to do my extrude. So I'm going to right stick, push, pull, push it out, and this is going to go 1 inch. 1 inch. Okay, so here's our base. We've got our 1 inch base here, and then if you notice, there's a half an inch by half an inch square that goes all the way through. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another sketch. So I'm going to add on right here on the top, and this one we start right at the corner, and we're going to bring it out, and it's going to go 4 inches by 0.5 inches. We're going to hit the enter key for it, and we're going to finish that sketch. So that's going to be our half inch here. And so then that is going to get raised up by half an inch. So I'm going to do my extrusion. So I can either do my E key, which is extrude, and I select this, and I'm going to go up 0.5 inches. Now what I want to do here, see how I've got this here? So I'm doing this differently. I'm going to do this as a join, so it's going to make it the same piece. So that's going to be my join. So then I've got it joined here. I'm going to go in, and I can zoom out now so I can see what I've got for my model. So I've got my half inch here. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is, if I go back a little bit, I'm going to go back and do another half inch wide, and it's going to be that top part. So now what I'm looking at here is, now I'm going to make this top part here. So it's still a half inch wide, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 0.5, 1 inch, 1.5 inches wide by half inch. So I'm going to go 1.5 inches wide by half inch. So I'm going to make that piece go straight up there. So I'm going to go back into here, and I'm going to add a sketch, and I'm going to go right here on the top, and I'm gonna add my corner rectangle here, and this is going to be 0.5 wide, so I'll make this 0.5 wide, and it is going to be and then we'll make this, how long is it? So we're going to make it 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. So it is going to go 2.5. So we'll make this 2.5 from the end. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to finish that sketch, and just to show you the different ways, instead of hitting the E key for extrude, I'm going to go down here to extrude. I'm going to click on the extrusion, and this needs to go up half inch, 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches, and make sure I hit join. So I'm going to join it. So there's my front face of it. So as you guys can see, this is coming our front face of it. Oh, excuse me. And so then at the top of it, it's going to come back. We're going to go, it's going to be 0.1 inch by 0.5, 1 inch. 1 inch by 1 inch coming all the way back off of this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate my view so I can see the back of it. And I've got a 1 inch by 1 inch coming off of the back of it. And that length is going to be 0.5, 1.5, 2.5. Okay, so, all right, so now I'm going to add a sketch, add it on the back here. I'm going to add my rectangle in. I'm going to zoom in so I can see right here at the point, go right to the point. And my length is going to be 2.5, so it goes the full length. And the length down is going to be 1 inch, so we're going to go 1 inch. We're going to hit enter, and then I'm going to hit my home button so I can kind of see where I'm at here. I'm going to rotate just a little bit around so I can see here. I'm going to do my right click, press pull on this one, pull this one out. It's going to come out 1 inch. I'm going to hit the enter key. Okay, so now if you look at this, so if we look at this, this is good. I'm going to do my rotation here. So here's our basic shape. And so if we go back to what we're looking at here, here's my basic shape for it. Now I have to put the holes in. And so the holes are really neat. We're going to talk a lot about the holes here. But so this first hole is going to be on the top. If we look at this first hole, it is the center of the hole is half an inch from the front and half an inch from the back. Okay, so what I'm going to, and it's a half inch hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select my hole tool, and you don't have to select a face with this. I'm just going to click on, I want to put the hole right on the top. I'm going to rotate my view so that I can see it. Now, if I move this in, I can change the diameter of the hole. So I know the hole is a 0.5 inch diameter for a hole. Now, there's a lot of features of the holes, and this is what makes Onshape, or not Onshape, yeah, Fusion 360 a very cool program, is we can do different types of holes. And so right now, we're just going to keep it as a simple hole type, but you have counter bore holes, you have countersink holes, we can do threaded holes, we can do, there's two types of holes you have a hole and a blind hole. Blind hole doesn't go all the way through. So think of it as like a peg, so it has a bottom on it. If we rotate around, and I rotate around to see this hole, I can see, so right now this would be a blind hole because it's not going all the way through. So I would want to change this dimension so that it goes all the way through to my hole, and it would be at the bottom here. So now this hole is going to go all the way through when we get this. Now to dimension this is pretty simple. So I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna click on the center hole for my reference point. So click on the center hole, and I'm gonna click on the edge, and I'm gonna make it 0.5. And then I'm gonna click on the center hole to the edge, and I'm gonna make it 0.5. And then when I hit the enter key, it will cut out that hole. So we wanna make sure that we haven't hit the enter key when we're doing our dimensions for it. And so I've got this, so I hit the enter key, and there is my hole. And so, I just got rid of my hole. I hit the delete button. Let me do that again. I'm going to create a hole. I'm going to put the hole right on top. If I hit the center button, I can move it to where I want it. I'm going to adjust the diameter of it to make it a 0.5 inch hole. Okay, then I'm going to hit my center point of the hole, 2-dimension it at 0.5 from the back, center point to the edge, 0.5. Now, I can either drag and do this to get the hole to go all the way through, or I can choose on here what's my distance for it. And so I can do all, which means it would go all the way through. So that would make it so that the hole automatically goes all the way through for us. I'm going to hit the OK button, and there's my hole. Okay, so now if I rotate around, I can see that that hole has gone all the way through. Now I'm just going to rotate around. I'm going to put one on the front. I'm going to put this hole right in here. And so again, this hole looks like it's 0.5 to the edge. So then it's 1.5 and then 0.5 turn. So it's, yeah, so it's 0.5 and a half. So this would be 3/4 of an inch in, 1/2 an inch down, still a 1/2 inch hole. So I'm going to add in on the front. I'm going to go back to this on the front. I'm going to add my hole again. I just put right where I want my hole now. I'm going to adjust the diameter of it again to make sure I got the right size. I want to make it a 0.5 inch hole. Now from the top down, it's 0.5 inches. But then from this side, it was 1.5 blocks in. So I'm going to say that's 0.75. So it's 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to put that there. We're going to make it so that it goes all the way through. So I can either pull that through. So right now it's a blind hole. So if I did this, it would not go all the way through. So if I come down here to go all the way through. So if I hit this, let me just show you here. I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK. And that's going to cut out my hole. Now what you notice is this is what's known as a blind hole. So it's not all the way through. So what we want to do is we want to go back to get it. Now if I go here, here's my timeline. Let me show you how do we fix that. I'm going to double click on that hole again, and I'm going to change that hole to make it all, which means it's going to go all the way through, and I'm going to hit OK. And so now that hole has gone all the way through. So I've got my part number 3 is complete. So then what I would do is I would save this. I'm going to save this part here. I'm going to call this complete. Right, and I want to make this a milestone. So milestones are things that you've got, major events that you finish. You've put everything together. So I'm going to put here it's finished. And so we've got my milestone, and that is, oh, let's see here. So we got part 3. There we go. All right, now there's part 3 going, and we are done with part number 3.